But Matt, what is it kind of like? I mean, it's just you and Martine pretty much on Martine Gallegos of MLB.com on the beat now. What is it kind of like just covering the A's and a team with so few, dedicated people to it now,
Yeah, I mean it's a small beat. I think there are, the part of it is probably a reflection of just maybe a little bit of a lower fan interest right now, just because of the way that the team is operating at the moment. But there's still a ton of stories out there. It's still, I think, a pretty interesting team. Obviously, there's a lot of new guys. So when we were down in Arizona for spring training, it was a good chance to kind of get to know a bunch of the new faces who were there, and just kind of start to piece together this group that they have, because there are some returning players from last year and some young guys who kind of come up through the system or come in through trades, but you have the new free agent signings, and just it seems like it feels like a new group. Obviously, last year there was so much turnover that you couldn't really put your finger on like what the team is going to look like from day to day. So
Yeah.
so to have a group that they're at least kind of settled on to go into the team with and kind of getting to know them over the course of the spring was good.
Matt, was this your first like real spring training as the A's?
Yeah, first real spring training because I was gonna join the beat with Susan Slesser in 2020, and obviously that got cut short. And then 2021 was a weird camp because we couldn't, like, there were still restrictions on like how close you could get to people. We were in the
Yeah.
clubhouse, so we were like watching spring workouts from one of the bullpen areas that we had to like stay in the bullpen
Through the
area and
fence or
watch through the
something.
fence, and like we couldn't like get close enough to the
Yeah.
fence to like talk to guys, and everything was still resumed. And then last year was the lockout, so
Yep.
we had 4 weeks, and it was just catching up with all the trades. So yeah, this actually felt like a real camp, and that was nice.
What's the vibe in the clubhouse like? I mean, it seems like every time at this time of year, people are saying, "Oh, everybody's having a good time." It's always all positive, but is that the actual feeling you get when you're in there? Like, do
Yeah,
you?
everybody's having a good time. It's all positive. It's I think it is. Yeah, I mean, to your point, yeah, it's spring,
Yeah.
but I think there is a positive kind of feeling in the among the group, both with part of it is from the veterans that they brought in. You really get the sense that I said Jesus Aguilar in particular is a kind of a bright, positive clubhouse influence. Kind of he's taken several of the younger Latin American guys under his wing. Pache was one of them. Unfortunately, like he's
Yeah.
probably gonna have
Yeah.
to find a mentor somewhere else. But Diaz is a little bit quieter, but seems to be a kind of a solid clubhouse presence. Jace Peterson also quieter, but kind of always in the middle of the clubhouse. And
Mhm.
so I think between that and just having the optimism of the spring, I do feel like it is a more positive vibe, at least than it was
Yeah.
toward the end of last season, but even last spring too, because when they were making the trades at the beginning, like in that first week, it was just like hit after hit
Yeah.
after hit that
Yeah.
that the group there was taking, and just watching these guys pack up their stuff and saying their goodbyes in the clubhouse, like during or after spring training workouts. And I don't know that initial kind of, not that nobody saw it coming, but I don't know that those initial feelings ever really went away throughout the
Yeah.
course of this
Yeah.
season. So at least there's a little bit more stability, and they did some adding before this season. So I think I don't know, the way that a couple of people have described it is that it's not so much like processing emotions right now as it is just talking about like ways that they're gonna try to win games. So it just feels more like a normal spring.
Nice.
Yeah.
And like last year, like that was unique not only just because they sold off so many guys, but normally they wouldn't do that during spring training.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that all that stuff would have been done before, or at least most of it would have been done before camp started. And so, the awkwardness and the suddenness of
It was like every day. Yeah, it was
yeah,
crazy.
it was. I mean, there was that first week where they traded Bassett, I think, before the first workout, and then
Yep.
Olsen 2 days later, and then Chapman 2 days later. And
That's just
yeah, and it was
unbelievable.
while it was in on the mornings of workouts. So these guys are showing up to the clubhouse and watching star players pack up their bags and having to say goodbye. So yeah, that's not happening this spring, or
Yeah.
didn't happen.
So then now that you've gotten, your normal sort of amount of access, gotten to know some guys at spring training, just between the three of us, nobody else is listening to this. Who's been your favorite person to interview on the team? Who's been your favorite person to talk to?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, it's a good group. I will say that just from my experience, covering the A's the past couple years or the past few years, and then also a little bit before that for the paper in Sacramento, the Sacramento Bee that I worked at
Mhm.
for a while. It has pretty consistently been like a solid group of people. They're mostly approachable, mostly engaged when you're talking to them, and but I'm trying to.
Is Trevor May as hilarious as he seems?
He's pretty funny. Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's also
He seems like a goofball. Like he seems like or he's like kind of in his own little world or something. Like he sees the world differently than most of us, kind of thing.
yeah, I think that last way is he seems very thoughtful, and he thinks, or he looks into stuff, he thinks about stuff that maybe not a lot of, it just kind of explores different hobbies and just different pursuits, interests that maybe you're not going to find a whole lot in clubhouses. So he was definitely a fun guy to talk to.
Yeah, you wrote
Hard to
that
pick a
article about
favorite.
how he's like the master baker of the clubhouse, right? Like he's the baked goods guy,
He
right?
really enjoys baking. Yeah,
Yeah.
he said he picked it up like last fall just as something to do, and made a loaf of bread and got hooked, and now he just
Yeah.
bakes stuff all the time. And so yeah, like he was bringing it during spring training. He was just bringing in stuff like every other day, like bagels, scones.
Bagels.
There was a day that he walked around the clubhouse just with a Tupperware container of cookies and was just like having everybody take a cookie.
Yeah.
Did you eat them? Were
Yeah,
they good? Are they all right?
tried one. It was pretty good. Pretty
Nice.
good. Yeah, yeah. This
Bagels are tough because you got to boil them and stuff.
that's
That's
what I
high degree, that's a high degree
that's
of
what I thought too. Yeah,
difficulty home baking. Yeah.
it will seem like a chore, but apparently he's made cakes, which also don't sound easy.
Yeah.
He's gonna try layer cakes,
All
icing
I do
cakes.
is pancakes. I can do pancake mix, and that's about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you can make it in a bowl and then just not have to worry
Break and
about.
bake. Yeah, give me
Yeah,
the break and bake cookies.
yeah,
Those are all good. Yeah.
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 But no, he's into it. So yeah, that he was definitely fun. But overall, it seems like a pretty solid group.